Hello everyone! Do you have your coffee? I've got mine. Today I want to share my Calathea collection with you. Now the name is reassigned as Gopertia. But from here I'm going to try and remember to call it Gopertia. I want to share with you a trick I use to keep the leaves from crisping. I also want to discuss getting a large plant, you know, something established like this from the big box store. This is my tiger paws, and by the way, I bought that as a little tiny baby for $3 versus ordering a little starter. See, just a little one through the mail. The advantages, the disadvantages, and why I probably will from here on out go with the starters. So let's put this pretty little thing back and admire these caladiums for a second. Okay, we're not here for caladiums. We're here for Calathea Gopertia. And we'll put this thing back. Okay. Now with that out of the way, let's get our coffee and get on with it. By the way, if you're new here, my name is Leaners. Welcome to my channel. If you're returning, thank you so much. Thank you for supporting me. I couldn't do this without you. So the first thing we're going to address is the elephant in the room. I got to back up. This girl is so huge. Look how big this thing is. So she was about 1/3 that size when I got my Gopertia Warszawskii. And by the way, they changed that too. It used to have a K. Also known as Velvet Touch. And she is beautifully soft. Both sides are furry. This plant was about 1/3 this size when I picked it up last year from the big box store. And it just crashed and burned, and I lost every leaf. And over the last 5 months, it grew back, and it loves where it's at. It got just huge. And you see the leaves, and I don't even do my little trick, which I'm going to share with you. I don't even do it with her. And you see she's got gorgeous leaves. See, I didn't cut any tips off. She still has her tips. She's not bloomed yet. But she sits in a south window about 20 inches back and to the right, to where by noon there's no direct sunlight on her. And I've got a pendant light with just a regular LED light bulb hanging above her, and it hangs right about here. So the plant just hugs that bulb and hugs the window, and I don't rotate her. I don't make her have to redirect her pretty little solar panels. Sorry about the fan, but it's been getting hot in here lately. Okay, so the next one we have is Gopertia Rosiopicta, also known as Leuconura. And I got her from a big box store, and she was about half this size. And you could see she is blooming. And she has new leaves popping up like crazy. Again, this plant lost every single leaf but 2. As soon as I brought it home, it crashed and burned, and I was starting from scratch all over again. Same with this one. I bought a batch of rooted cuttings in a glass ball full of water at Home Depot, and the other side I bought a small, medium potted plant from Walmart. They didn't lose every leaf immediately, but this one had root rot. I had to clean it up, re-root it. It lost about 80% of its leaves. This one lost about 60%, and I had to regrow the thing. And the damage you see, that's not from missing a watering. That's from me bumping the little cigars, straws. I call them straws. Where it's at in my bathroom, which it loves, it's got its own light. It's just a Walmart light bulb hanging and a chicken light above it. That's all it gets. No grow light, nothing fancy. It gets good humidity from the showers every night. But it gets really cold at night in there, around 60 or below sometimes. And I think the problem is that when you buy these larger established plants, they come home to your house and they're like, where are we? And they just start dropping leaves. They're very unhappy. It's a shock on their system. Whereas the little plant is way more adaptable. Now this one wasn't huge, but this one was half dead when I got it. This is the only remaining leaf. The other ones were worse. They were like 75% crisp. But I loved the plant. I liked the size, so I brought it home. This was an emergent leaf with a crispy tip. And same with that one. But every other leaf that you see on this plant has grown in my care. And she's just beautiful. So I didn't want to shock her. She wasn't losing leaves, but they were already destroyed. So she had already gone through her shock and awe, you know. So what I did is, every time she grew a leaf, I took a leaf. And then I've decided to leave these last 3 that were on her. This plant was huge when I got her, but again, about 1/3 the size that you see. And just for comparison, this thing is a monster. She's quite big. I have to back up all the way across the room for you to see her on my screen. She's about 2 feet tall and about 30 inches wide. And she lost everything except for 2 leaves. And this is one of the original leaves, and it's all crinkled and scarred up, and it's not even smooth. It's all messed up. Now, again, I was behind on watering her one time, and her thing that I do kind of went dry, so she got a couple crispy leaves, but for the most part, she's pretty pristine. And you see she's growing new leaves everywhere. I mean, everywhere that I pick up the leaves, there's new leaves coming in. She's just gorgeous. And she did bloom for me a couple months ago, and that slowed her a little. But all these leaves, other than 2, all of them grew in my care over the last 4 months. So why get the big plant? If I paid for the big plant, it was a good price, and it was instant gratification. But then it came home to give me anxiety as I watched it die. Whereas down here, this had 3 little leaves. I paid $3 for it. It was in a little tiny 3-inch pot, and overnight it exploded into this big plant. And it would look better right now. About a month ago it was covered in flowers, but then I moved it. And this plant will not keep to itself if it's mad at you. It will tell you right away. It is very, very vocal about telling you it's pissed off. And I moved it twice, and it was just curling up. And then I put it on my kitchen counter, and it just opened up. And it's been, as you can see, it's now giving me new leaves. So I finally got it right for her. And she's going to stay there and live there permanently. But she was no bigger than this one gorgeous leaf. And let me just step back. I mean, she's really... When you get the location right, you get it right. And then this one wasn't a tiny starter, but it was in a little 3-inch pot. It was about half this size. I bought it in the mail. It came real healthy from the greenhouse. It maybe lost 2 leaves. All it's done is grow since I got it. You know, I paid a little less than what I paid for these. Not a whole lot less, but I didn't have to sit and watch a plant die and have to grow back. You know, the whole point of these plants is to bring us joy. And getting the little plant and watching it grow, I will say, gives me more joy than purchasing a big plant and having to watch it die and wonder if it's going in the garbage or not. But they all did come around. It just took time. It's taken 4 months. Now, what is my little trick? This is my trick. So all of the plants, and we're going to talk about that in a second. In fact, we'll move over to it. I'll show you what it's got going on here. All of my Calathea, except for the Velvet Touch, have a reservoir and this wick. I don't know if you can see that wick. It's 2-ply polyester yarn. Okay, so when you buy polyester yarn, it comes in 4-ply. Meaning it has 4 of these strings twisted together, and I just divide it into 2. And that's my wick. And the bottom of my pots always have leca, and I bring the string through and just lay a strand diagonally across the leca, and then I put the potting mix on top of that and plant the plant. Now that string alone does not keep these plants going. I still do a light top watering. I can't really tell you how much, because every single one of these plants is different. And that's something you have to figure out by paying close attention to a plant when you first bring it into your care. But I do a light watering twice a week, sometimes once a week. Sometimes I forget to water that thing for 2 weeks. Now that thing is a beast. She can go bone dry. I recommend this as a beginner plant because I'm telling you, I've had nothing but an easy time with this girl, and she's beautiful. And she feels so good to touch her. And I just throw her in the tub about every 6 to 8 weeks, and I just shower the tarnation out of her and I flush her. And then I let her fully drain, and the bottom of her pot, though, does have upside down snack cups, so she's never sitting in the bottom. She is never sitting in water. None of my plants ever sit in water. None of them. And even with the reservoir, there is always that, see that black line there? That marks where the bottom of this pot goes. And I leave, as you see, I got a gap. I call that head space. It's for air, because otherwise your roots, and I encourage roots to follow those strings into the reservoir. That's the water table. But you always leave a 1/4 to 1/2 inch air space, because the water takes in oxygen from the surface. And if you don't allow any headspace, you start to get rotten roots in there. And a little hydrogen peroxide, never more than 1% per volume, will help add oxygen, because see, this one doesn't have any air holes. So I have to put a little bit of, just a squirt of peroxide in there. Tiny amount, never more than 1% by volume. I do that with every plant I own. And it kills Pythium, and it adds oxygen. When I was a young woman 40 years ago, 21, I'm 62, okay? 40 years ago, I used to buy a thing by Miracle Grow called Oxygen Plus, and it was nothing but Miracle Grow with hydrogen peroxide, and it came in a hydrogen peroxide bottle, and I used it religiously, and I never once ever had root rot. I had the biggest, fattest plants around, and I don't know about you, but I think my plants are looking pretty big and fat right now. So anyway, we've talked enough about my wick. My wick is the backup insurance policy so that these plants never have to go bone dry and crisp. Now here is my struggle bus. This plant cannibalizes more leaves than she produces. See this? This is what she does. It just, they just rot. Some, they'll make it that far and then they either rot or they proceed to give me a leaf. So what I found out from research is this plant does not tolerate minerals. You have to give it distilled water. And that I just give the rest of these guys any old water. They don't have any issue with it. Even the Maranta. But this plant, I gave away my White Fusion. It had a beautiful root ball. But you know what? It wouldn't grow me a leaf for nothing. They came in shriveled the same, and then this one started doing it. And it's got one coming in here, but it's undersized. I put minerals in my soil. I put zeolite and azomite, and then I feed a mineralized fertilizer that is for epiphytes. This is not an epiphyte. This is a terrestrial plant. So I'm going to repot it with no minerals, and I'm going to give it distilled water from here on out. I'm already doing it for my Nepenthes, which is covered in little pictures. She's looking great. I'll show you it one of these days. She's looking amazing. She's in the cabinet. But it did wonders for the, I mean, it's the only reason the Nepenthes is alive, and I think this plant has the same issues. So we will do a follow-up on how this plant's doing. As you can see, it's kind of pathetic. I've had it since November. See, November 26th. And it's just, and it was a pretty substantial, beautiful plant when I got it by mail. And it's just slowly dwindling away to nothing. So I'm not going to give up on it. I gave up on the white fusion. I regret that I gave up on it. Maybe if I can keep this one alive, I'll get another white fusion. Anyway, I hope that some part of my rambling today was helpful to you. I thank everyone for joining me. I appreciate you. I value you. You mean everything to me. And thank you for watching, and have a lovely evening. Bye-bye.